I mean, forever Dolly and
That's the first
forever
thing I was gonna.
Snap Tackle Pod. Okay, like forever Dolly, forever Snap Tackle Pod. We're back for season number. I don't know what is it, Dion?
6, 7, I don't know. How long you
Six or
been at
seven?
how long you been at KSHB?
8 years.
Is it really 8? Have we done it 8 years? Maybe we did in the first year, so this is probably 7.
Yeah,
I don't
because
think we did the first
17
year.
is when I started. If we started that year, this would be the ninth year. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years right here on
And
Snap Tackle Pod.
if
Mission
only
Equipped
think
KSHB 41, Dion Clisso, PrepsKC.
and to think if we only did it year round, we could maybe have a following like Jason and Travis.
Yeah, give me a paycheck like Jason. You can take
We gotta
three
build.
zeros off their paycheck, okay? And I'm all in. I'll do it every day. Okay, Dion? Find me that, find me that golden goose. Find me that
If we had
sponsor.
built if we continue, we have a great no
We've done
disrespect to our
it six
following.
or 7 or 8 or 9 years.
Yes,
How
we've
long
got
do
a
we have
great
to go until
following.
we build something?
We got a great following, but if we were to keep it going all year round, who knows? Taylor's gonna be living in town.
I feel like we would actually have to call somebody like H&R Block and say, hey, will you throw some money at us? Right? We need to have a sales team. It's just you and me.
I know.
That's the problem. That is it. But hey, it's fun. I like doing it. And I think this is the first time I've done a season where I haven't had a kid playing high school football.
True,
So
true. So we're gonna have
I
to have
won't
the
be a Mill
swimming
Valley
segment.
homer, I guess, anymore.
We're gonna to have the dedicated swimming segment.
Do we?
Yeah.
That's swim tackle pod or whatever.
Yeah, swim tackle pod. That's a whole
Snap
other
tackle pool is what we'll call it.
snap tackle pool. There you go.
Got it right there. You might want an expert on you on that podcast talking swimming. But no, here we go. We're talking high school football in and around Kansas City as we do each and every year. And we are getting started. And I believe every year we've done this, Dion. Missouri started ahead of
Yeah.
Kansas. I think a couple of years there, they started like 2 weeks ahead.
They
Now
were
it's
two
just
weeks ahead
one.
there for a while, just one. When they bumped their state championships
Yeah.
out to the week after, that's when a state law was passed because Missouri was starting practice like July
Yeah,
30th.
they were playing games on August 18th.
Yes, it got a little early, and who would have thought that the reason that they would have moved that back off of Thanksgiving was because the tourism industry, namely Branson and places like that, were losing money because no one was going anywhere past like the second week of July instead of some people would vacation in the first week of
Yeah.
August or dead week, which was like the second week of August. Um, no people were doing that, so that's what got that move made. And
Thank you, Table
I
Rock.
yes, thank you, Table Rock. Great place to go vacation. We had done it in the past. I know you have taken your family down there as well many times, but
Really?
no, it's that and the decision that somehow we are able to function where football can work the week after and basketball in Missouri somehow
Yeah.
still survives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to throw this on the St. Louis people because that's more of a basketball town.
Yeah.
They acted like if 12 teams played football the week after Thanksgiving, that the basketball season
Yeah.
would be corrupted and killed dead
Well, I
because
could see it for maybe six of those teams, right? The small schools, class one, two,
yes,
three, where especially class one, you're relying on probably half that football team to come out and play basketball. I'm from a small
yes,
town like that, and we ran into that a couple times of like, man, we got to basketball practice. We had a game coming up on Friday, like 3 days later. So I get that, but no, at the big class,
yeah,
big class level, no, you can overlap just fine.
yes.
I in
You're
Kansas, if you're listening, I would add a game too. Start the same week as Missouri. Go a week longer in the playoffs. More football is always good, I
No,
think.
I think Missouri's doing just fine. Um, I I don't mind it starting Labor Day weekend. I think this is actually early, or
Yeah,
this is one of the earlier
early.
years because Labor Day is on the first. So it'll and where Thanksgiving is just the kind of thing there. But no, it's starting this weekend. Shockingly, the weather looks like it's going to be halfway decent.
Oh yeah,
I was out on a
I'll be
field.
in the 70s
Yeah,
for
I was out on a field last week, stood there for 10 minutes and told myself that I don't need to stand on heated
last
fields
week was
anymore.
brutal.
It
Yeah.
was brutal. I don't know how anybody, you know, we all have wet bulb in our language now, and that we
What
didn't
is
know what that
that?
was. That's the measurement they do of the humidity, and if you can, it's a certain number that comes up with, and the trainer has it.
Wet
The
bulb.
wet bulb. So that's why you see teams practicing in the morning because they don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But no, this week leading up has been great. Kansas has kicked off, last week, and they've been going at it, and everybody's gotten great practices in, and great weather out there to be out there. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying nobody's going to cramp up Friday night,
I was gonna say, hopefully no cramping.
but that always happens because as a parent of a high school swimmer, who I tell him to drink water all day, that's like it's not the easiest thing to get them to do. They don't necessarily
Yeah.
want to carry
Hard to
that
do.
water bottle
Drink
around.
all your water. Your pee should be clear, kids. Okay.
Yes,
Don't be selfish. Your pee should be clear. Yeah.
it's a tough battle for my son because it kind of goes through him. So if he drinks a lot of water, then he goes to practice and he's in and out of the pool 4 times. So you want to hydrate him to the point where he's not
Right.
missing 25 minutes of practice.
Right. All right, kicking off week one here. I was looking at the slate of games, and man, we're starting off with a bang.
It's a good
Like,
year. It's a
it's
good
a
year.
really good week to start off. And I don't know if it's going to be like that each and every week here, but week one has got some doozies, and it's just beyond your Remax Big Three. You have
Yes,
three great games there, but there's even more beyond that. We could start with that. Liberty and Lee Summit in a rematch of last year's opener, two teams
yes.
that were really good last year. Lee Summit took a step last year.
Well, and that was a game that kind of Lee Summit kind of introduced itself to everyone and said, "Hey, we're here to play." Knocked off Liberty in week one last year, and they are very talented. They bring back the twins, Carson Feeney, who's a PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team player, one of our receivers last year, and uh, the new quarterback. So they got to work that in. But a lot, everything I hear as we record this, I'm going to be talking to Todd Miller, the coach, later today. Haven't talked to him directly, but everything I hear around Lee Summit is everything they've done this summer. People are very impressed with what they are
Yeah.
doing. So they're off to a good start. Liberty graduated, Jackson Hicks and some good players, the Bindle twins. But they've been pretty good about reloading. But that's just a fun game
Mhm.
because I know Liberty were I don't I don't think anybody's unprepared. Chad Fergon does a great job. I think Lee Summit stepped up and won that game last year, but I think Liberty's ready to give that back this
Yeah.
year. Definitely.
Yeah. Savannah and Pleasant Hill. I'm curious on why you picked this one. So many good games out there. And then the draw is always for the Class 6 teams, but I'm glad you picked this one. Two great Class 4 programs. Great
Yes, yeah,
names
and
too. The Savages and the
the
Roosters.
Roosters. No, I this is for both these programs, it's a perfect game to start their season. It's a non-con, but it's against a good Class 4 team that if you were to go deep, who knows, maybe you might see them like say
Sure.
quarterfinals or semifinals. But Anthony Hayes at Savannah has done a fantastic job there the last 4 years, really giving them an identity. They like to run the ball. They're physical. The only reason that you don't hear about Savannah, winning that Midland Empire Conference the last few years is because St. Pius that's been in there.
Yeah.
St. Pius is now not in that conference. They're running an independent schedule. Savannah kept them. They kept Savannah on the schedule, which tells you a lot about Savannah. That's a team that Pius wants to play, and Savannah wants to play them. And Pleasant Hill, Justin Hamilton, talk about a guy who's just done a fantastic job at that school. He got there and instantly they turned things around from an 0-10 season, winning district titles, playing in quarterfinals. Last year they went to the district final against Warrensburg, lost. Those two teams are pretty even. They play in the same conference, the MRVC West. They bring a lot back at Pleasant Hill. They've always, I don't know if they lost some big time players, like individual players, but they bring back a lot of depth. They may not have the marquee names they've had the last few years, but they're definitely a solid team. And those are just two good programs that it's great to see non-con games like that in week one.
Yeah. Your third Remax game of the week on the Missouri side, the only side that's playing football this week, is Ray Peck at Lee Summit North. Now, Lee Summit North, obviously a power, has had some issues in the offseason here. Ray Peck bringing back Greg Jones. Can
Yeah.
Cajun Man, like one game in, get the Ray Peckers good enough to give the Broncos a run here?
Well, the Lisa North's got to replace a lot of starters. That was a big time senior class they had. That they've got talent. That's not you talk to Coach Rogers, and he did say, he goes, we don't quite have the offensive linemen that we've had the last few years. He
Uh-huh.
goes, we got good offensive linemen. I'm like, well, one of them went 10th in the draft. The other one's a captain at Missouri.
Yeah.
So yes, they may not have the Caden Green or the Armand Mimbo that they've had in the past, but he likes that group. He likes their offensive linemen, and that's going to be a big spot for them because they got to replace a lot of them, and they got to replace a lot of starters. There's no more um, Isaiah Mosey there. I mean, there's that kind of stuff. They may not be quite as explosive, but they're still going to be pretty good. On the Ray Peck side, DeZephon Walker is one of the biggest recruits in Kansas City
Yeah.
in the last decade. Haven't heard his name as much. He's been banged up the last couple of years, and Ray Peck hasn't won a lot of games. So the recruiters know him. The college people who follow that kind of stuff know who he is. I would say that healthy, that he will under Greg Jones, he will see a heavy dose.
Nice.
And Greg Jones is back. The goatee is gone. He did 3 years in college. He shaved the goatee.
That's
Uh, he told me that his wife asked him to do that, and he said after 3 years of basically them not living together, when he was in Oregon and then in Warrensburg, where he'd spend Monday through Friday in Warrensburg, go back up north on the weekends. He said his wife asked him to shave it. He said I probably need to get in line and do what I'm asked to do. So
yeah.
he looks younger. He's enthused. And Greg Jones, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't pay attention, Greg Jones has won every single place he's been. No matter, and he's been a few places, but he wins everywhere he goes, and he usually wins quick.
Yeah. What's the help me out here, see if I miss. I'm trying to run down the schools in Kansas City he's coached at. Park Hill South,
Well, Park Hill is where he
Kearney.
started.
Well, I'm not going to go in order. Park Hill South. You tell me what I missed. Park Hill South, Odessa, Kearney, Liberty North, Ray Peck. What am I missing?
Park Hill was his first head coaching job.
He was a head coach at Park Hill.
He was a head coach at Park Hill, and they opened Park Hill South. He went over to Park Hill South.
Okay, I
In
missed that.
fact, and Tom Cruise was an assistant at Park Hill South
I
before he
might
got to Ray
have
Peck.
not been here then.
I don't know if you
My
were.
time.
I
My
don't know if
time.
you were. In fact, I don't remember him at Park Hill.
Yeah.
I remember him opening Park Hill South.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
he
That's the first
left
thing I remember.
and
Okay.
went down to Louisiana, or was it
Arkansas.
Arkansas? He went to Arkansas, was there for a year, came back, did Odessa for a year or two. Mark
Kearney
Thomas,
for the longest stint, it feels like.
Carney was the longest stint. I think he was there every bit of a decade.
Yeah.
Won 2 state titles there and played for a third. And then was at Liberty North, and they went to the state championship game. And then he
Went to Oregon
left.
then.
Then went to Oregon with Dan Lanning, and then was at Central Missouri the last 2 years. And he told me straight up, he said the landscape of college football is changed in his short time that he was there. That
Mhm.
especially at the D2 level, he said, you think recruiting is he goes, when you're at D2, you're recruiting every day, every minute of every day, your kids, their kids,
Mhm.
everybody's kids, high school kids. And so
Yeah.
he goes, that's what it was. And he goes, he said, I tried it. And he goes, I'm not saying I won't go back, but it was a great conversation with him. And as he, I'll tell you right now, I'm a fan. We're friends, and I'm glad he's back on the Kansas side. We got another guy named Fred Bouchard who's over
Yeah.
at Spring Hill. So those two guys used to bang heads at Staley
Yeah.
and Kearney, and they're back. We need a Ray Peck Spring Hill game, real quick.
And yeah.
That needs to be we need that in the off in the non-con in the future years. But no, Greg's going to do good things, and this week one game with them and Lee Summit North is a good one
Yeah.
for both teams. I mean, for Lee Summit North, like I said, they've got to replace more than they've had to replace in a long time. Plenty of talent there. That's not the question. It's just they're kids. They're going to be ready for Friday night. Now
Yeah.
they won a lot. They won a lot of games big, so they were able to get a lot of those kids in there. There's no doubt. But no, it's that's a great one there.
I
And
mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, we can just dive right into some of the other games.
Well, I was just saying, it should be a Remax Big 4 or 5 this week because
Yes.
Rutgers at St. Pius. My goodness. Speaking of back in the day, I mean, Mickey of 20 years ago in 2020, 2005, no chance Rockhurst, whatever. The idea of Rockhurst
Yeah.
St. Pius playing, and now this figures to be a great game.
Yeah, and they used to play in the 70s and early 80s. like every year. No, I think it's a great game, and Rockers won it last year. Um, I I think Rock is they're quietly optimistic about their team. They like what they have. They feel like they're a little more athletic.
Yeah.
Pius has got great players there. A graduated good amount of players that had been starters for a couple 3 years there, but they've got a great group. And the size of the school. I was at the DM Injury Law Media Day yesterday. Pius has 500 kids now.
Really?
They used to be like 250,
Yes.
300,
Yeah.
and there's 500 kids in that building. So you see the people are wanting to go there. All their sports are getting better. The wrestling teams won state championships. I mean it's a whole culture at St. Pius where they're wanting to get better. And Coach Anthony Simone Jr. has done a fantastic job with that group. And hats off to them because they've made a place where people want to come to go to school. And it's not just sports; it's a good school. So um, it's just a fun game, and it was a Remax Big Three game last year to lead the season off. But that's one of the great games to start the season. Liberty North, Blue Spring South.
Yeah.
That was a 1 point game last year. Liberty North got them, and we saw Blue Spring South did after that. Went all the way to district final, lost to Liberty. Um, you're pretty sure somebody's going to be good when you send them information on their team, and you look down the list where he lists starter or returning starter or started some games, and that number on the offense is 13, and they graduated a 1,000-yard rusher and an offensive tackle that's going to Army.
Wow.
So
Which side? That's who? Blue Spring South or Liberty?
yes, Blue Spring South,
Okay.
and they've got 9 back on defense.
Wow.
So 2 years ago, when Blue Spring South went 1-9, and we're playing like 9 sophomores,
Yeah.
you're seeing the fruits of that labor.
Sure.
They are loaded. Liberty North is kind of in the Lee Summit North spot. They've graduated a ton of players. They maybe don't have the marquee guys that they've had in the past, but they've got a lot of guys who played a lot of minutes. That still I think had that trek of freshman teams that were either undefeated or 1 or 2 losses, and those groups are still rolling through there. And that's a great game. And Blue Spring South, they were this close to winning that game last year. Modi Williams made a great play, forced a fumble late, and they gave up a field goal and the game went Liberty North's way. But that's a really good one. Another good one's the DM Injury Law game of the week is Lincoln Prep. Julius Foster returning there as the head coach. He was assistant coach under William Lowe, playing against University Academy. And both those
Yeah.
teams, the University Academy's got a lot back. It's the 4th year of their co-op with the Kaufman High School, and I think that's a good one. Hey, and you know what? That's a 5 o'clock game. University Academy tries to play a couple games early in the season because they don't have lights. They play a five. They've got it scheduled. If they've got those first couple weeks at home, they'll
Yeah.
play 5 o'clock games. So they technically are the kickoff classic of the
That's
Metro this
them.
week.
Because there's
That's
no
them.
Thursday games, huh?
There's no Thursday games in Missouri. Every once in a while, you have to petition the state. You can do it. A few years ago, I think Excelsior Springs played a day early, or somebody played a day early a couple years ago. I can't remember who it was,
Yeah.
but you kind of have to ask. You have to ask the state if you can do it. Kansas, you can. That's not a problem. You can play
Hey,
Thursday.
Mission in 08, they give you like
Yeah, they always do.
every week.
Yeah, always do. So, especially on the Missouri side in Kansas City, not as many shared stadiums, if any, at this point. The one stadium I think is going to be shared, and I did not get an update on this situation. Raytown South hadn't practiced all week. They held their jamboree at Raytown last week because they thought it was a gas leak. They didn't
Oh,
know.
man.
And the last I heard is there was something that they dug up, some kind of line or pipe that they think dated back to the 1910s that was laying next to the gas line,
Oh, boy.
and it was hissing something. They don't know. That's just secondhand reporting. So they virtualed the first week at Raytown South, and they hadn't practiced there. So that's the only they may be sharing the stadium with Raytown again for a little bit of this season. But no, not a lot of shared stadiums on the Missouri side. But no, it's a fun week. Fort Osage Kearney,
Yeah.
Raytown Grain Valley. I mean,
Fort Osage Kearney, you've got I like Staley Oak Park.
Staley Oak Park's a great game.
Speaking of I think teams used to share a field. Yeah, that's coming up in week 1. You just go down the list here, like every other game. It's like, man,
I
Blues
think
Lee Summit West. I'm interested.
yes. Here's the thing. I don't know if I think it's a statement more on the teams that have gotten better
Yeah.
at playing some teams. Like last year, there's some games you're like, oh, that's Blowout City.
Well, yeah, last
And
year
they
Lee Summit and Blue Spring South, they weren't things until they
no,
became them. and now they're onto the scene. Teams like
Yeah,
that.
and so some of your top teams graduate a lot of players, so there's a little bit of uncertainty there, and some of your bottom teams are better,
Yeah.
and so that you get a week that matches up like this, and it's a great night of football. Raytown South's gonna be better. Smithville, Raytown South.
Let's
I'm
go
just
right down
looking
south.
at the list. I mean, you look at the list and it's great, and it's it's a great week to kick things off, and as we get going here, like as we record this, it's a Wednesday. We'll have our first little PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team um, article out, just kind of outline some guys are coming back, and
Mhm.
we got the video that's coming out that'll be out today, and voiced by some guy who really likes the sound of his own
Voice
voice.
of God, right? Morgan Freeman, basically here.
Yeah, especially for the Kansas City Metro, but no,
Yeah, let's talk
it's
about
kind
that
of
McCarthy Elite team back for a second year, huh?
yes. It was hard. It was hard putting that team together, but it was fun, no
You made
doubt.
the rules, man. You banned
I
yourself
know.
into a corner. Like,
I mean,
wow,
and
just
it, and
one
then
quarterback? Really? Okay.
and when we shot the videos and the kids came out and that kind of thing with that video shoot, it was something totally different that had never been done before, and we're looking forward to even spicing up even more this year. We thanks shout out to Bishop Yeash who let us use their locker room
Mhm.
for that. It was a great central location. Don't know where we go this year. I know that uh, Joel Appleby's a big fan of not driving,
There we
so
go. Big old locker room he's got there.
he offered up his locker room, much like when he hosted the All Star game before the tornado hit and they had to go to DeSoto.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, it's a great thing with a lot of guys that are off that team that are coming back. Rocco Marriott was our MVP, and he's back at Platte County, and Rennell Johnson, the Blue Springs, their outstanding defensive lineman. He's a senior,
Hmm.
and really it was fun for me, and that's what it's all about, really, is me, because I'm not covering games. I'm, I get to know the coaches real well. I don't get to know the kids real well, and getting to see those kids, and then they're able to kind of show their personalities for those videos,
Sure.
and it was fun. It was great to see, and uh, thanks again to the McCarthy Auto Group for,
And thanks again
for
to
sponsoring that.
PrepsKC for being around on Friday nights on KSHB 41
Except
Under the
for,
Lights, another
I,
partnership that's going to carry over for another year.
yeah, except I get bumped by the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Little
week two
Friday
might get a little
night.
hairy. We haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah. So
We have to
yeah,
get
I
Chiefs
will get.
game on YouTube for free, but then we're also going to have it on KSHB 41 because let's be honest, and I'm in this group, I don't want to go on my TV and find YouTube. And I don't want to watch a Chiefs game on my phone. If I can find it on NBC, a local station, I'm going to do it that way. So I figure we'll have plenty of eyeballs.
Well, there's been a couple instances this year where I've not watched a Royals game simply because of where it was um, at. Last Friday when it was on Apple
Apple
TV,
TV, yeah.
I hadn't signed into my Apple TV in a long time, and then it wasn't I was like trying to put in the thing, and I'm like, nope, no, I'm not watching you tonight.
The
And
best
then it
part
was
is you get
on.
these, you have to have these streaming services like Apple TV, but if you want the MLS, you got to get the package on top
I
of
don't even
that,
go to
the Apple
MLS.
TV
I'm
Plus
not. Yeah,
and all
I'm
this
not
other
paying.
stuff that's
That's
like,
MLS. Sorry, I'm not paying inside the thing I'm already paying.
I
Either
know.
I'm paying for it, or I'm not paying for it. But then it was on. What was it on Roku? The Royals were on
Yeah,
Roku.
they had that weird Roku game. That was wild. That took us a while to find it. And
I,
it's
I
funny.
could.
Then they would list up, they had every week another Roku game coming up because they used it's not their own announcers. Roku doesn't have like, you know, a Dan Schulman or anything like that. They use a Twins announcer and a Royals announcer. And then they showed all the games that were coming up and they were all middle of the road games at best.
Yes, they
It
weren't.
wasn't Yankees, Red Sox, right? It wasn't Dodgers, Padres every week. It
I
was
can't.
middle of the road like Royals and Twins.
I was torn when that game happened on Roku because either I feel bad for the Royals social media team, or I think they should have done a better job because they were unlucky in the fact that that's the game that Bobby Witt Jr.'s back tightened up on him.
Yeah.
And so they promoted the game with a picture of him
I'm guessing they got to
on
have that
Roku.
artwork done in plenty of time.
Yes.
And
So as I told
scratches happened
someone,
late, and it happened late that day. Yeah.
you're promoting a game I can't find with a player who's not playing.
Yeah. Player's not playing.
So yes, but the beauty of it is if you have you can go to YouTube or you follow us on Twitter. Snap Tackle Pod is always available on
Right.
PrepsKC.com
Everywhere. Nope. You
everywhere.
have to buy it. Seriously,
No,
we told you earlier, we don't make money on this, so you
no,
don't have to pay it.
no.
If you
I'm
are
sure
paying,
there
let us know. We want to know where that money's going.
I'm sure there are people wondering why we get together and do this for 45 minutes or half an hour whenever we do this
There's
every
people
week.
out there, man. All the games I'm at, they'll always be like, "Hey, heard this on Snap Tackle Pod," or sometimes it's a Thursday and it's not out yet. They're like, "Hey, when are we getting the Snap Tackle Pod?"
Well, and I will
There's
say
an
this. I
audience out there. We have a core.
and you and I've talked about this, and we want to get to it earlier in the week. There's no doubt about that. And Wednesday has always seemed to be the landing day. Um, and I feel like if we could get to Tuesday, which we talked about doing
Let's aim
yesterday,
for
we were
Tuesday, and if we miss, we hit Wednesday,
Wednesday.
as opposed to aiming for Wednesday and missing and hitting Thursday.
I'll say this for me personally, Tuesday is probably a better bit because I do the radio show recording, and if I do this and then I do the radio show by about 5 o'clock on Wednesday, I'm pretty the voice is pretty well
Yeah,
getting to be done.
yeah.
That's one of those things. As you saw me sipping on water on my 2012 Royals cup. If you don't have old Royals cups in your house,
Are you really a fan?
I don't know.
2012, that was I won a great year.
No, that's when they finished strong. That was when the thing was come to play, and like like there was that. Oh no, that was
That's
actually that
13, I
come to
think. 13, they
maybe these
got
are
third place, and that
13. They got third place.
laid the
And
foundation.
12 was
12
the
was
All
was
Star.
not a winning season. I can promise you that.
12, I think the slogan was our time, and they doubled back on it because they thought they were going to be better in 12, but they
Yeah.
doubled back and said our time was for the All Star game, and I literally with a half season plan did not see them win a home game until June.
My kid, who's in freshman in college now, was like, he said the other day, I don't think I've seen the Royals win a game in person since game two. It would have been game two of the 15 World Series. We went to that. I took him to that. And I'm like, well, we go to like a couple of years. Like, I know, but they always lose. I was thinking back, like, yeah, they kind of
Yeah,
always do. So,
they can be like that. I mean, mine is so jaded that I've got a picture of him watching at at 4 years old watching Jeremy Guthrie warm up before Game 3 of the ALCS in 2014, standing because we had seats right by the bullpen,
yeah,
and he's like he's like he treats it like it's a football season. Like every loss is devastating, and they
right.
suck
Yeah,
if they lose,
yeah.
and he can't really get through his head, and it's like if we win, it's great, but I don't know. He's. I tried to tell him I was like, when he went to his first playoff game, he was 4. When I went to my first playoff game, which was the wild card game that year, I was I was 43.
Nice.
So he needs to kind of get over it.
You get over it. Yeah, exactly.
And we went last
And
year. I
don't,
took him.
yeah, if he's a Chiefs fan, don't get me started on Chiefs fandom.
Oh, this is my favorite story. The Texans game in 2020. And was it 2019? Is that 2019 when they got down?
Yeah, it would have been the
18.
2019 playoffs. They were down
Yeah.
24-3. Yeah.
So they're
It was in
down.
2020, but 2019
Yeah.
season.
And it was like because we felt like we lost the championship game the year before. This is we're definitely better this year. We're going to go defense is better than that. They get down, and my wife and I, because it was an early game, we're
Yeah.
just like pissed. We're like, here we go. This is what it is. Because someone always said that the Royals may suck for 20 years, but when they win, it's life changing. The Chiefs are the girlfriend you get back together with over and over again, and she just keeps kicking you in the nuts.
Yeah.
Up until that point, hadn't won a playoff game for a long time, all that kind of stuff. So we're all pissed, and he's like, they're gonna come back, and we looked at him like, there's so many years of like losing playoff games that you can't. It's like I looked at him like you don't know, but they did come back and win. And
He wasn't jaded. He wasn't jaded.
Yeah. He wasn't jaded at all.
All.
So
All right.
life stories.
Enjoy all your
Snap Tackle
games.
Pod.
Dion, you'll be at Command Center Friday night. All
Yes.
stringers will be out and about, all that stuff.
Got all those guys out there, and
It's good to just get one state. You kind of ease into it, figure out the kinks and the bugs before you have two states to worry about.
yes, it's definitely nice to have one week to kind of ease into things. But we got a couple new guys this year. A guy by the name of Brock Balders joining the team. He was down in KOAM in Pittsburgh and has moved back in the, he's from the area originally. He's moved back in the area and wanted to stay in high school football. And lucky to have his talent.
Nice. Right?
Yeah,
Sign me up.
yeah, I know. It's like along with the guys we've had in the past, and always good and great photogs. And no, it's going to be a great year, and looking forward to it, and looking forward to talking to Mackenzie on Friday nights, and um, partnering with your staff and Matt and everybody that you guys, and Nick and everything
Yep.
you guys do there, and
Yep.
makes
We'll
it
have that
fun.
under the lights starting on Friday. We'll figure it out the next week whenever the Chiefs are in Brazil. We have the game, we have the post-game show, all that stuff. But we'll get it figured out. And so check out PrepsKC for basically up to the minute scores and updates all Friday night long. And then turn on KSHB 41 for Under the Lights for the best high school football coverage in town. Dion, we're off and rolling.
Yep,
In the bag.
another year, number one in the bag.
We'll see you next time with Snap Tackle Pod.